everybody and welcome back to HAU2. My name is Nicci Welsh and I'm the creator of the new braiding technique called the Pipe Braid. In this tutorial I'm going to show you level 1 of this technique. It's exactly where you need to put your finger and your arm placements when you're creating this braid. I'm also going to create 2 more videos for you, level 2 and level 3, but you can take them once you've mastered this technique. Now I'm making sure that I've brushed through the hair, haven't got any knots in the hair. I'm brushing it all the way back from the face, and I have some product in the root to give the hair some grip. It always helps a lot that you have some grip at the roots to make sure that the braid stays in place. Now our first section is going to be a horseshoe shape right at the top of the head here. So I'm taking a parting down either side, and then I'm going to curve round onto the crown. So this will be our center, and our center is going to stay in place all the way down through the braid. So this is the shape that I have here now. Combing it through again to make sure there's no knots. Now this braid is a 4-knot braid. The aim is to create 4 knots around this center panel, and once you've created those 4 knots, you then repeat again and repeat all the way down. So the first section I'm going to take, I'm taking from the front of the hairline all the way through to the center of the head. Make sure that these sections are not too thick. Then I'm going to comb down the roots to make sure the hair is going in the right direction and the roots are sitting flat. So your finger placement is going to be as such. I'm holding on to the center section here. I'm then making a loop here that my first finger and my thumb are going to be able to come through and pinch. They have to sit here ready to catch the hair once it comes over this side. Then with these fingers, what I'm going to do is take it from underneath here. So I'm holding the center panel here with these fingers, then I'm holding the first section here and putting these 2 fingers ready to pinch. I take it under the center section, over the top, pinch, pull through. I make sure that the knot is sitting high up as possible, and then to make it extra tight, what I do is I pull the hair in the opposite direction and up towards the front of the head. I'm doing this very gently, it's not causing my client any pain whatsoever here, and I'm just making sure that sits nice and tight. So that's my first knot here. So to help you, then you need to take an extra section. So to help you with this extra section, section number 2 here, you then take this piece of hair, put it down into these fingers here, hold on tight with it there. Then you take a section from the front hairline into the center of the head again, holding it with my fingers here, combing down at the root to make sure it's going in the right direction. Now what I'm going to do in this first level, you can ask your client to help you just while you start getting used to the pattern. So this section now, which was section number 1, is sitting underneath section number 2, and I'm taking this section over to my client, asking her to hold on to it, because that makes sure the knot stays tight, and it gives me the freedom then to work with section 2 and create the next knot. So again, what you need to do is make sure that you've got a gap in the middle here, a loop here that these 2 fingers can come through. I'm keeping hold of the center section in these fingers, and I'm taking these 2 fingers under here so that I can put it under the center, over the top. My pinching fingers are ready to grab it. I pull through, slide the knot up to the top, pull forwards towards the head, and that's my first 2 knots. So once I've got that into place, I can then ask my client to hold this side. I go back and take the first section, and I do the same again, holding the center as such, taking it under, over the top, looping through, pulling up towards the top of the head, taking this section from my client, asking my client then to hold this end for me and do my second section in the second knot, up and through, pulling underneath, up towards the top of the head, then adding the 2 ends into the middle. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 knots. Now the reason I'm asking my client to help is because it's a good way for you guys to just get used to the placement and keep this nice and tight. In level 2, I'll be able to show you how to do it when you just hold on to it yourself, but I think this is a great way for you to start learning it. 4 knots is the maneuver you're going to do all the way down this center panel. So now let's go through it again, just in case I didn't explain it good enough for you guys. So I'm holding on to the center here while I take section 1. I'm taking it from the front hairline all the way through to the center of the head. I'm using a comb to comb down the roots to make sure that the hair is going in the right direction. These 2 fingers, I've still got hold of the center section here. I move these 2 fingers underneath to take hold of this section. I make sure that there's a gap big enough for my fingers to go through because I'm going to loop round. I take the section under the center, over the top, pinch and pull through. I pull through to begin with over to the same side to tighten it up. When I can see I'm in the right position, I cross underneath, pull the strand up towards the front hairline. By doing this, I have found it's the best way to keep this area tight. So pull it up and you can see that's nice and tight now. I can use my thumb and my finger to actually push this up into place. Grab hold of the center section again, holding on to my first section here, and then I'm ready to take section number 2, front of the hairline, all the way through to the center of the head. I have my finger here ready to grab the section so that I keep a section separate. I'm then going to use my comb to smooth down the roots. This is of course your choice. You can also just do it quite roughly with your finger if you want to. I just prefer to have the roots flat ready. Again. Now at this point, I incorporate the help of my client. Ask her to hold on to the strand underneath. It's very important that the second section goes over the top of the first section. So if you're asking your client to hold it, that section does not want to go through the top here, it has to go underneath. So now at this point, I'm holding the center section with the 3 fingers here. I maneuver my fingers under the center, I grab hold of section number 2, I make sure there's enough space for my fingers to come through, pinch, get my placement right, swap over to the other side, pull up towards the top of the head, it tightens everything up. I ask my client to hold that section for me while I go back to section 1. I retie section 1 in exactly the same way, tighten it up this way. Swap these round. Ask my client to hold this section again now. I retie section 2. Pull through, right position, pull up to tighten, push up, and then add in to the center. 4 knots again. That's the maneuver of the 4 knots. I'm adding a little bit of product at the end of each maneuver. It just helps keep the braid into place and gives me some grip.